And then we move on to the house of liberated expression, and that is the 5th house, and that is relevant if you have Aries on your 5th house, and that means that you should be Sagittarius, should be your 1st house. And yeah. Okay, so we continue. So this is the house of liberated expression, and it's the 5th house, and it is if you have your if you have Sagittarius on your 1st house, and that means that Aries is on your 5th house, then Saturn has just entered into this part of your chart. And the 5th house in the star number system is the house of liberated expression. And this is where the consciousness surges forward with something to say. So it's associated with Mercury and the number 5, and that means that it's about communication, thinking, expression, any kind of undertaking, or and also freedom. And this is an expression. When I say expression, it means that it is actually expression in any and all forms. It can be spoken, written, sung, dance, acted, painted, whatever kind of expression that you feel is you. And so the 5 vibrates with this kind of freedom and change, and hates being constrained. It's kind of like Pinocchio in that way. It's like nothing to tie you in the 5th house. So that means that for Sagittarius rising, Aries has of course always and always will be the natural tool for you to use in your 5th house arena, you could say. So that means that that there's a certain kind of courage that comes with you expressing yourself, whether it is that you speak your truth, for instance, or that you really share boldly with what you create. And there's also some kind of, you could almost say, directness of your self-expression, like how you express your creative side. There's a directness to that, and there's a sense of purpose that is within that kind of expression for you. So what happens now when Saturn moves in here? Then this kind of boldness that is within the Aries energy, that is in this part of your, in this 5th house for you, then it suddenly gets a sense of structure and leadership applied to it. And therefore, the boldness that you have around your expression will be structured more going forward. So that's because that right now, over the next couple of years, then Saturn is in this area of structure and leadership, and Saturn is the area that represents structure and leadership and discipline and long-term growth, and your relationship with time, of course, also, because that's also a thing that Saturn represents. And that is now entering this creative space, you could say, or this expression area of your life. So that means that over the coming years, your creative expression then begins to take on like a serious committed quality, and that the quote unquote voice, because it can be in many forms, right, that has been always brave for you, the way of expressing yourself has always been having this bravery to it, or passion and purpose to it, that is now going to potentially be developed into some more real mastery. So whether it's your art, your communication, your craft, or whatever form your expression specifically takes, then you are kind of looking at how do you commit to this long term? Like, how do you actually put it to practice? How do you refine it? How do you build it up? How do you compound on what you are doing? Like compounding, because you take steps all the time, every day, every week, every month, every year, whatever, to do something in your expression, then it of course compounds and becomes very solid, or it could be very refined. It could be very much, it can take more structure to it. So you build, maybe, let's say you build a body of work rather than just having, like, let's say you paint, and then, like, rather than just painting one day and not the next day because you just felt like painting today and tomorrow you might feel like doing clay, maybe you really get into painting, and then you have like a whole series enough that you can do an exhibition, because you have a lot of paintings suddenly. So you build it into something instead of just playing around with your expression. And that is what Saturn can do for you. It can structure it, right? And you might also, in this way, like I just described it with the painting versus painting and doing clay, then you can say you might feel drawn to doing a single creative discipline rather than trying out many forms for expression. So the Aries tool that you of course always have available in this area of your life gives you the courage to start and the courage to share it. But what the Saturn then adds is to keep going and having the patience to really see it grow into something big and long-term, and like put a long-term vision to it, and whatever it is that you're doing, become an actual creator. So in this way, you can say that your voice is being given a structure and a shape to it that is recognizable, that becomes more yours after Saturn's visiting you here. And something that you can really stand behind and feel like this is also who I am. And so part of the number 98, which is Saturn in Aries, of course, that reduces, 98 reduces to 17 in numerology, so 9 plus 8 is 17, and then 17 is kind of part of the number 98 in that way, because that can be reduced again to 8, of course. 1 plus 7 is 8, but that means that within this energy of Saturn Aries, it's not just about being bold and courageous and taking action with passion and going towards what you are passionate about, but it's also actually about there's something dreamy here, like there's your dreams and inner visions, which is coming from the 7, and through this kind of bold, but also it's already in the area of expression, you could say, but there's a true self-expression and generosity to the number 1, which is the 1 in 17. So it's about sharing yourself and continuing and almost like stepping up and taking the stage when it's the number 17 is there as part of 98. So for you in the 5th house, this is like almost like part of this energy is what is already in the 5th house, because it's about expression, and the 17 part of 98 is about self-expression. And so it's about bringing forth what you're inspired to do and what your dreams and visions are. So, and plus the Aries part, which is about courage and passion, then the 7 in 17 is then about your dreams and visions, and something that was maybe something you could wish for previously now is being given this opportunity to shine, as long as you take steps continuously according to the Saturn kind of way of being. So you create a little structure around it, you have repetition around it, so you keep going at it and you keep putting the work in every day or every week or whatever it is. And then it's also like a little bit like rituals, like that you do something continuously and thereby become a master of your craft or of whatever it is that you're expressing. And yeah, and then ultimately the 17 again reduces down to 8, and the result energy of 8 tells you that when Saturn meets your bold voice here, then or self-expression, like this expression that you have with purpose and drive through Aries, then what happens is that you actually crystallize something becomes real in 3D reality. And in this in this arena of your life, that would be your creative identity that is going to crystallize over the coming years. So that can be that you become an established voice, for instance, or that you the work that you put out there, the creativity that you present to the world is like getting more established and more recognized. And that is also because Saturn is also the leadership energy, and so you might be seen as somebody that is somebody that people look to, and who can show the way in relation to this expression or creation that you bring to the world. And then I have a little affirmation down here, and I'll just read it out loud. You can take a screenshot if you wish, but this is valid for the next couple of years as long as Saturn is in Aries. So the affirmation for you is this: I welcome structure and long-term vision into my voice. I have always known how to speak boldly and create fearlessly. I now let my inner vision shape the body of work I am building. I commit, I show the way, and I feel a deep clarity and confidence, knowing my expression is taking real lasting form. That's it for you, and we move on to the next house. Then I just wanna have the last word here is that just to remind you about this architecture of Saturn in Aries, is that Saturn is of course the long-term, the area of this long-term building, structure and leadership, while Aries is the tool to apply to that area, and that is the tool of being courageous and persistent in taking action and having some passion and drive. And so then when you apply this passion and drive and being courageous to this structure building and to your leadership, then what you end up with is crystallization and clarity and confidence. And so your dreams are then ready to take form that is lasting, and you have the courage to give them shape, and the clarity and confidence will meet you on the other side. So I hope that is helpful for you, and like and subscribe if you will, and don't if you don't, and then I will maybe see you again. Thank you. Bye. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Over the next many years, from 2025 to 2028, Saturn is moving through Aries, and I am going to talk to you today about how this transit affects each of you in according to your rising sign. Depending on where Aries sits in your chart, it will have an influence on your energy that Saturn has now moved into this area of your chart. But first I can say that I'm talking from the star number system, which is my own system, it's not really my own, it's a system that I have received during meditation over the last about 3 years. And it's kind of like a new way of interpreting astrology and numerology and so on. It's like a mix of the two. So let me take you through this transit using this system that I have received. So I won't take the credit for it, actually. That's probably too much. So between 2025 and 2028, Saturn moves through Aries in the... Oh, let me just do this so I can better see. So between 2025 and 2028, Saturn moves through Aries. And in the star number system, Saturn is the area of life that holds your structure, your leadership, ambition, consistency, discipline, and long-term growth. And also, of course, overall, it's also your relationship with time. So this is where you build things that lasts, where you commit for the long haul, and where you become steady and dependable as a leader, so that and a leader that others can lean on. So this is Saturn, which is the number 8. And then Aries, I look at Aries as the tool that will be used in this area of life. So Aries as a tool carries the energy of the number 9, which is courage, determination, persistence, stamina, compassion, and unstoppable drive to show the way by doing. It is really truly an area of life where we have a lot of drive, but also where it's not by telling people what is right and what is wrong, but really showing by doing. And so Aries is a fire sign, you could say. So it is also about taking action and initiating. So it's brave and self-reliant and confident. And when you use Aries as a tool, you will then lead by example, and you will take action with purpose and on your purpose, and you will move forward with a conviction. So bringing these two energies together in the star number system, that brings about the number 98. So if we then follow this numerological journey, then 9 plus 8 is 17. And 17 we reduce again, because we can say 1 plus 7 is 8. And so the resulting energy is 8. And that takes us back to the kind of the Saturn energy itself. And that is the thing about being in Aries, that it kind of returns its original energy to itself, but it actually goes through another energy in the process. So it adds another element. And so that return to the number 8 then is resulting in what we can say is crystallization. It's things taking shape, it's clarity, it's becoming tough in a new way, because you've gone through kind of like a crystal. It takes a lot of pressure for a crystal to become a beautiful crystal, and in the same way we become tough when we go through things. And it is also about showing the way, inspiring others. It's about feeling confident, determined, and also it is highly connected. The number 8 is highly connected to being successful as well. So there is this intermediate number 17, and that is what makes number 98 so interesting, because it's not just that you have the area of life, the number 8, and then with this way of working with that, which is the 9. No, there's another energy in between, which is 17, before you actually get to the result. And 17 has therefore its own meaning in this journey from 9 to 8 to 8. And so 17 is the energy of inspired creation. So it's about bringing your dreams and inner vision into form through bold expression, self-expression, you could say. The intermediate number 17 has its own meaning along this journey from 9 to 8 and 98 to 8. And 17 is the energy of inspired creation. It's basically about bringing your dreams and inner vision into form through bold self-expression. So when you act with courage on this work that is, you can say, the work that you're doing, which is where you're in it for the long haul in a way. When you act with courage on that work, then because 8 is about taking steady, taking consistent action. It's about consistency and keep moving on something. It's like compounding, if you've ever heard of that. And so that is just putting in the work day in and day out. But when you act on courage with that, but also have this element of, you have to remember what is your dreams and what is your inner vision, at the same time as you have to also use your self-expression and truly put yourself into it, something that you're excited about. Then you're kind of bringing together this stretch where your dreams and visions are taking visible form, and they do that through this brave and persistent creation. So from there you then end up with the number 8 again, and that is, as I mentioned before, it's this crystallization and clarity, and also inner confidence. The confidence that you gain from taking the steps and daring to really be brave, and also putting yourself out there. And it also, in this case, daring to do it through your own, through putting yourself out there. So this is a powerful combination. And Saturn is really the area for this long-term building. It's about structure and leadership, while Aries is the tool of being courageous and being also persistent in the action. It kind of have a similarity there with Saturn, right? There is a persistence and determination in both the number 8 and 9. And then the resulting energy is that when you then do this right, when you kind of do what the energy is asking you to do, then you kind of bravely commit to building something real and show up day after day with this discipline. And also at the same time, you remember that it has to resonate with your dreams and wishes, and you have to in some way self-express. Then you will end up with this deep clarity and confidence. So that is, you could say, it's even like this way of having earned satisfaction, knowing that your work is taking shape over time, right? So you slowly see the progress. And so in this transit, when Saturn is in Aries, then that is then impacting everybody, because everybody has Aries somewhere in their chart, and Saturn is the energy that is then moving through these areas of our lives and brings in this energy and a collaboration between the Aries tool and the area of Saturn. And so we will all feel this shift towards courageous, disciplined building, and also towards leadership that steps forward and leads by example and demonstrate what is possible through consistent, brave action. So over these next 3 years, many people will feel that growing urge to commit to some long-term project, and something that actually truly matters, something that is grounded in a personal dream perhaps, or a personal vision even. And so bring something that truly matters about, right? Get it into 3D reality, not just having it as a dream in the ether forever. Maybe it's something that has been considered for a long time, but that you haven't really been daring to take action on. And now here comes this Aries energy and says, you have to be courageous. Now go do it. And put yourself out there in a way, right? And so, so then in that way, you will enable your dream to take a real, tangible, lasting shape, right? That's really what's in the mix over these next 3 years. So it's super exciting. It is really an exciting period and super, super cool with Saturn in Aries. So we can really move forward and on our dreams and wishes, you could say. So the key message then is of Saturn in Aries is through this star number system that you are willing to commit with courage, and whatever it is that you're committing to with courage will then crystallize and take shape and come into being. So that is a super big promise, and that is of course something that you have to kind of bring with you now and feel like, oh wow, this is actually an amazing power. So what do I really want to commit to and be bold about, and what do I really want to see crystallize? If you could choose something specific in your life that in 3 years from now, and by the time Saturn leaves Aries, that you can see that you have made this dream real, what dream would that be? And then find the courage within yourself to go for it. That is really the message here. So being bold is not just about having the spark and having this idea and a good intention and I'll do it tomorrow. No, it's actually about being bold enough to take action today, and being bold enough to take action every day, so it becomes a structure you put in place for yourself and thereby crystallize it. So be brave enough to start and persistent enough to keep going. That is really what is gonna make your dreams come true over the next 3 years, and depending on when you listen to this, over the years to come. And this is of course an energy you will have with you forever, because you've been through this energy, so you'll know how to do it, how to be persistent and keep going. Okay, and then you have to trust that when you lead through a consistent, courageous action, that you will build something that is real and lasting. And that in that way, that is the cool thing about Aries, is that when you really use this idea of Aries, like when you use the energy of the 9, which is Aries, then you actually, you are showing the way. You do give others a permission slip to be just as cool as you. Okay, so so the formula is this. So Aries is 9 and Saturn is 8, and so that in the star number system that is 98, which reduces to 17, which reduces to 8. And so the tool is the way you should act. If you bring out your toolbox, then this tool now is to be courageous, persistent, determined, and take action towards something that you're passionate about. And then in this area of life, you should do that in the area that is connected to your structure, your leadership, your discipline, long-term growth. And so when you do that, and also remember that in between, remember to put your dream into whatever it is you want to grow long-term. And then when you do that, then you will end up with something that is crystallized, it's clear, it's confident, it's real, it's tangible, and you are showing the way. All right, so in the coming sections, then we go through each of the houses, because it affects everybody a little bit differently depending on their rising sign. The rising sign, Aries, is always in your specific house. It doesn't change houses. Like let's say your Aries rising, then Aries is always going to be your first house. And so that's the tool you have available to maneuver with your first house, and then Pisces in your second house, for instance. So that is always the natural tool for that house setting for your specific rising sign. But and remember that for that area of your life that we're going to go through now, then there's a fire and courage and directness in that arena of your life. So, and that is part of how you operate, or how you at least ought to operate, how you should operate. And so what is new, what is actually the only new thing for you now, is that the energy of Saturn is coming into this arena. And that means that suddenly this arena of your life is being presented with this Saturn energy, which is structure and discipline and long-term vision. But in the fact that it comes into the Aries part, it gives it lights up this energy that is different from when it goes into other areas, right? Saturn is not equal in all sign. It doesn't act in the same way in every sign it goes into, because it triggers something specific. And here, for instance, it triggers that you not only have the long-term vision of Saturn and the drive and passion and directness of Aries. No, the two combined gives this magical influence of 17, which is also about tapping into your dream and putting yourself out there, taking the stage a little bit, right? And yeah, so that is kind of what is going to be new in your specific area of your life in that way. So let's go through it. Let's start with Aries then. In the house